Good morning, students. Today we will start new unit, that is magnetostatic fields. In previous unit we limited our discussion on static fields that was characterized by E or D. We now focus our attention on static magnetic fields which are characterized by H or B. In this way, there are similarities and dissimilarities between electric field and magnetic fields. As in electric field, E and D are related like D is equal to epsilon E for a linear isotropic material. In the same way, H and B are related according to B is equal to permeability times intensity. So in this way we will find many similarities and some dissimilarities between electric field and magnetic field. And our study of magnetic field is very important, as in our daily life we use the magnetism principle in motors, transformers, microphones, television and advertising displays, in vehicles, memory stores and magnetic separators and so on. There are so many things in which magnetism play an important role in daily life. Now let us start magnetostatic to understand what exactly it is. Okay, so in this we will study static magnetic field. Static magnetic field, from name itself we can define our study area. So that is, static means the field does not vary with time. Okay, so if it is independent of time, then in that case we can say this is possible only when the source of magnetic field, that is the current, remains constant. So current, that is indicated by I, remains constant, and it will remain constant only when the rate of change of charge will remain constant. The rate of flow of charge remains constant. Okay, so we can understand, if we will plot between the time and Q, then the slope of Q versus T remains fixed. The slope remains constant. It means the change in Q with respect to change in time remains constant. It means the current will remain constant. In this case, the field will be time invariant and it will be called as magnetostatic. Okay, and it is observed by scientists that current carrying conductor generate the magnetic field. So the possible source of the current carrying conductor can be three types. The first one is line conductor. This is our line conductor which is carrying current I in this direction. So it can be line conductor, first type. Okay, and I is the current density, line current density. So the current that is flowing from any element, that is DL, any part of the conductor, the current that is flowing from there will be IDL. If I is the, okay, we can consider it J, don't consider it I, consider it J. The current density flowing from this line conductor is J, ampere per meter, and if we have J, then the current that is flowing from this will be J dl. So in that case, the current that is flowing from this line conductor will be J dot dl. Okay, and the another possible way is surface conductor. This is line, this is surface conductor. In surface conductor, we can have this understanding from a skin effect. We have studied in case of AC current, the skin effect exists, and in that case the current flow from the surface of the conductor. From there we can recognize this. So surface conductor, if it is of, the conductor is of width B, length L, and the current is flowing in this direction, and we can say the current density, surface current density is Js. So in that case, the current will be, if we will consider any differential area, then from that differential area the current will be Js dot ds. It will be the total current flowing from the surface. Actually you can consider any thickness, and if you want to find the surface conductor, then the limit of this thickness tends to be 0. In that case, the conductor can be assumed as surface conductor. Now third is volume conductor. There is one conductor, it is having differential volume dV, and in that case we can say volume conductor, and the current that is flowing, the current density is JV. Okay, so the current that is flowing through this will be JV dV for full volume. Okay, so volume, so there will be triple integration. So in this way we will find total current, and that is flowing through the conductor. So in these three different cases we will try to find the current that will help to find the magnetic field due to them. Okay, so here we will study the law of magnetism in all these three cases of currents flowing through them. So we will start from the first one, that is Biot-Savart law. So let us start from first one, that is Biot-Savart law. Okay, so this law finds the magnetic field intensity H due to current carrying conductor. For example, this is a current carrying conductor which flows current I through it. Okay, and we wish to find the intensity at any point P through this conductor. Then we will assume any point, any element here, and the length of this will be, if we will consider point 1 here, point 2 here, and this element will be considered as current element IDL. Okay, this is 1, this is R12. as Biot-Savart law finds the magnetic field intensity H at any point due to current carrying conductor. And if we define the magnetic field, then we can relate from electric field, and the magnetic field is defined the region around the current carrying conductor, a region in which a magnetic material get forced. A magnetic material is placed if in surrounding and it experiences a force, then that is due to the magnetic field. And to quantify this magnetic field, intensity is defined, that is H, which we will try to find from Biot-Savart law. Now, magnetic field intensity quantifies the effect of field in surrounding of the current carrying conductor. Okay. Now, according to Biot-Savart law, he observed that the intensity, magnetic field intensity due to this current element was dH. It is proportional to the current element itself, and further he obtained that this is proportional to the radial vector, radius from this to this, and the current element, angle between these two, sine of angle between these two. And further he obtained that it is inversely proportional to the distance between the current element and the point of interest square. In this way, he finally said that dH will be proportional to the IDL sine theta divided by R12 square. And further, when he removed the proportionality, then the proportionality constant will be there, that was 1 by 4 pi IDL sine theta divided by R12 square. This was the magnetic field intensity due to this current element at this point. Okay, as the field is vector quantity, so it will have a direction that will be in the radial direction of radius vector A R12 cap. So it will be in the direction of AR. What we can write further in simplification, we can say 1 by 4 pi, we can write IDL cross AR. We can write or not? Yes, it will further give you IDL AR magnitude will be 1 and the angle between these two sine of that, and in denominator it will remain as it is. This is the magnetic field intensity at this point due to this current element. And if we will integrate this, then it will give us the full magnetic field intensity due to this current carrying conductor at this point. IDL cross AR divided by R12 square. Okay, so that is for full length. Based on the different type of current, we can replace this IDL. If it is in line conductor form, then we can say IDL. If it is surface conductor, then I can be replaced like this. Here, by the way, should be this is current, linear current density, ampere per meter, not the ampere. Okay, so keep in mind. So in case of this conductor, surface conductor, this full will be replaced by Js.ds, and in this volume conductor it will be Jv dV. So from here we can say that the magnetic field intensity at any particular point will be this, and the direction of it, this magnetic field intensity will be in the direction of the cross product of the current element and the radial vector. Okay, and we know the cross product, how we can find the direction of the cross product. We will curl our that is the right hand thumb rule. Okay, so we will put our finger in the direction of current element, that is this, and the fingers will be curled at the point of interest in the direction of radial vector, another vector. So in this way the curling direction will give you the third direction, that will be the direction of magnetic field intensity. So ideal AR downward, so going inside will be the direction of the magnetic field intensity in this case. Okay, so hope it is meaningful. Now we will consider the case if the line is of infinite length. So if infinite line current is there, in that case we will try to find the magnetic field intensity due to infinite and minus infinite, in this case at any particular point. So consider an infinite line current is there, and then find the magnetic field intensity according to Bauer-Savart law. So for that purpose consider, okay, just for infinite line current. Okay, we will consider one line current of infinite length minus infinite. The current is flowing in this direction, and assume this is y, x, and this is in the z direction. Now try to find the magnetic field intensity at any point P, that is defined in rho phi z in cylindrical coordinate system. Now according to Bauer-Savart law, consider an element here, that is the part of it, that is dz, that is at height or at z distance away from the origin, and the P is placed at distance rho from the center, and from this the differential element, this length is considered as, you can say, if you will consider it 1 and it will be 2, then this will be R12. Okay, and the current that is flowing in this is I. From this, if the current density of this is I, we can say that is current density, then the current element, it will be the current element that we defined from IDL, it will be equal to the I dz for this portion. If current is flowing in this direction, then this will be in the direction of, dz is in the direction of az. And what about Ra? dz is positive, current is also in same direction. What's about Ra? R12, that is nothing, just you can name Ra or just R12. It will be equal to the this in the direction of z. So to find out this distance, what you have to do, you have to move against z, or you can move in this way or in this way, in this vector plus this vector, or you can say this vector plus this vector. Okay, so start from here. You can say this vector, so that will be minus az, and the length of the is z. So you can say minus z az, this vector, plus this vector. So you can say that vector arrow is in this direction, row arrow. This is R12. Let me repeat this. R12 will be this vector plus this vector. For this vector, length is z. However, it is in the direction of minus az. This is the direction of plus az. This is the direction of minus az. So z in the direction of minus az, z in the direction of minus az. And this vector will be rho in the direction of arrow. This is the direction of arrow. So in this way, it will be R12. Okay. Now if we wish to find the magnitude of the radial vector R12, the unit vector in the direction of that, then we can say that will be this divided by amplitude of that, arrow minus z az divided by rho square plus z square. This will be unit vector in the direction of arrow. So let us try to find IDL cross AR as it is in the definition. So it will be IDZ AZ cross AR will be rho arrow minus Z AZ. Divided by rho square plus z square. This will be IDL cross R, and divided by the full term that was already available, 4 pi R12 square. Okay, now simplify this. DH can be written as IDZ, you can take it out. AZ and arrow will be cross product. AZ and AZ will be cross product. So in that case, what you can say, if you have rho phi z, if you will do cross product of rho and phi, then you will get AZ direction. Cross product of phi and z will give you arrow direction, and this product will give you this direction. So we have studied this very well in unit 1. So what we will do, we will apply same IDZ rho AZ cross arrow, AZ cross arrow, that will give us a phi. So it should be a phi. Okay, and minus IZ, the cross product of AZ and AZ will give you 0. So this term will be 0, and in denominator it will be 4 pi R12 square. What's about R12? This is nothing, just this. This is square plus this. So you can say it will be rho square plus z square and this term. So it will be 3 by 2. Now to find the complete magnetic field intensity due to this current carrying conductor, we have to integrate this. That will be complete H will be integration of I dz rho in the direction of a phi divided by 4 pi rho e square plus z square to the power 3 by 2. Now to simplify this so that it can make the integration easier, assume an angle theta 1. Anyway, if we assume this theta, and from here this is rho, this is z, and this is 90 degree, so theta can be written as z by rho is equal to tan theta. Keep it as theta, not theta 1. Okay, so from here we can find z is equal to rho tan theta, and if we'll add make it is square, we can do this without any problem. And after that, if we will add rho square to both the sides of this, then it will be rho square plus z square 1 plus tan square theta, that will be equal to sin square cos square sec square theta. So we can have this relationship, and if we differentiate this, dz will be rho tan theta differentiation will give you sec square theta d theta. So the differentiation of dz will give you this, and rho square z square you can get this. Here you have rho square z square and dz. Two variables you have here, you can put it in this to find the complete H for the limit. And if z tends to positive infinity, okay, if z tends to positive infinity, in that case this theta will be 90 degree. Okay, so it should be almost parallel to this line will be almost parallel to this, and it will be theta will be 90 degree. When z tends to infinity, then theta tends to pi by 2. Okay, when z tends to minus infinity, in this case, if this angle is assumed positive, then the angle from here will be assumed negative. So if it tends to minus infinity, then this angle will be minus pi by 2. Theta will be minus pi by 2. Okay, so in both the cases you can replace z. As z tends to infinity, you can find theta is equal to pi by 2, and when it tends to minus infinity, theta will be minus pi by 2. Put these values in this equation and find the complete H for that. So put the limit first. I dz will be rho sec square theta d theta, this is this, and rho will be here, do that in the direction of a phi, divided by 4 pi rho square rho square plus z square, it is rho square sec square theta, and as it is power 3 by 2, so it will give you rho to the power 3 sec to the power 3 theta, and the limit will be as the limit when there was dz, limit was from minus infinity to infinity, and now it will be from, when it is with respect to theta, then it will be from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, as we have transform the limit from z to theta. Now try to simplify this. This row square will be cancelled out. One row will remain here. Sec square theta, sec 2 and 2 will be cancelled out. It will be sec, it will go up. Now further it can be written as I by 4 pi. It will go up. It will be cos theta d theta. Integration will be minus pi by 2 say pi by 2. Okay, that will be complete h. It will give you, after further simplification, I by 4 pi cos theta integration will give you sin theta, and theta will vary from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. After this you can get I by 4 pi. It will be sin pi by 2 will be 1 minus 1. So you will get 2 here. I think something we are missing, that is rho. So rho will be here, rho will be here. So the final value will be I by 2 pi rho. This is final h in the case of infinite length of line conductor. It will be in the direction of A phi.